I guess if
Thank
we're
you, Brian.
using Gary Cohn, who just signed, and I don't mean this insultingly to IBM or Gary Cohn, sort of a bizarre deal with IBM, then it might not be a big deal. What do you make of Gary Cohn? Do you think that was kind of a one-off by Big Blue?
I mean, Gary, obviously, as the former number 2 at Goldman Sachs, has always been in a milieu of important corporate clients in America and around the world. So, the thing that has me scratching my head is that he had just agreed to do this SPAC, right? He had raised more than $800 million for this SPAC late last year, and now all of a sudden he's vice chairman of IBM. On Wall Street, when you're vice chairman of something, that's sort of like the signal that your career is over. The CEO of IBM is going out of his way to make sure that we all know that Gary's going to have a real job. So we'll see. It surprised me because, Big Blue and big tech is not really Gary's thing, but, it certainly sounds good on the old resume, Brian.
Well, it certainly does. And, you got IBM there. Of course, Scaramucci, you also mentioned. I love how you've coined, and Anthony's a friend of mine, and saying it's called a mooch, I guess, is now a term for an 11-day period, right? Like a fortnight is now, I'll see in a mooch, Bill.
That's right.
He's been so critical of the president. I think that, as you note, has helped him as well. Wilbur Ross is in his 80s, probably would just go off onto his yacht in Palm Beach. What do you think is going to happen to the others, the Stephen Millers, the Mnuchins? Where do they go? What do they do?
Look, I mean, first of all, the revolving door between finance and Washington has been open since, Alexander Hamilton became Treasury Secretary. I mean, he started Bank of New York, right? So this has been going on a very long time. Usually it's that sort of one-way direction where people from Wall Street go to Washington. It started going in the reverse direction in 1968 when Henry Fowler, the Treasury Secretary, became a partner at Goldman Sachs. And since then, it's been a revolving door. Steve Mnuchin was a partner at Goldman Sachs, had his own hedge fund, his own private equity enterprise, served on corporate boards. I'm sure there are, a lot of people out there, as distasteful as it might be to the people who voted for Joe Biden, that somebody like Steve Mnuchin will probably end up with a sinecure on Wall Street, either his own fund that he resurrects again or somebody else's fund. There are probably a lot of people out there, Brian, who are very happy that the corporate tax rate was cut from 35 to 21%, and Steve Mnuchin and Gary Cohn were responsible for that.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.